Hi everybody, today we are looking at ratios. We're going to start off by simplifying ratios, but then we're going to lead on to obviously sharing ratios and a variety of other different pieces. Alright, so let's start off with simplifying. Relatively straightforward topics, a little bit like what we do with fractions. So if you've got a ratio, alright, it's 12 to 30. Alright, please don't kind of think that obviously that's 12/30th. That is not the case. But in terms of obviously how we simplify ratios, we are still doing the same kind of process, is that we are looking to find a highest or the highest common factor and then divide both those two ratios. So thinking about your factors, trying to think about the highest one. Well, I know obviously 2 is a factor because they're both even, but it's certainly not the highest. I think the highest is actually 6. So I'm going to divide them both by 6. All right, so 12 divided by 6 is going to give me 2, and 30 divided by 6 is going to be 5. And then I'll just double check at the end, make sure that they do look like, obviously that's the lowest they'll get. And bear in mind that 2 and 5 are both prime numbers. I'm fairly happy that that is the case. All right, so that's simplified. All right, if you then look to share a quantity in a ratio, all right, so if I'm sharing them out in a ratio, I've got to decide how many parts there are in total. So what it talks about here is adding the numbers in the ratio, see how many parts there are, and then dividing the number by those number of parts. All right, so let's put it into context. If I said to you what £60 in the ratio 3 to 7, then what I'm going to have to do is split this £60 into 10 parts, so that's 3 divided by 7, to get what 1 part is worth, and give the first person 3 parts and the second person 7 parts. Okay, so here we go. So they add the two together to get 10 parts, and then you're going to do 60 divided by 10, which gives you 6, which is 1 part. So the first person is going to get £6 times 3, so £18, and the second person is going to get £6 times 7, which is £42, and you've split the £60 in the ratio of 3 to 7. This person gets 3 parts, this person gets 7 parts. Okay? And you can always check your answer, again, like I mentioned, by just adding these two numbers and making sure that it adds up to 60, which of course it does. Sometimes, though, you might need to find the amount that's been shared. All right, so a slightly different kind of process, but on a similar line. So if you think about the money's been shared in the ratio of 3 to 5, and the first person gets 21, we've got to think about how many parts this person has currently got. So how much was shared out, and how much did the second person get? Well, if the idea of here is, think of it, if this represents the 3 parts, well, I need to do 21 divided by 3, which is going to give me what 1 part is worth. All right, because there are 8 parts altogether. All right, I'm going to do £7 times by 8, which doesn't give me £56. All right, so how much was shared out? £56. And how much did the second person get? Well, there's 2 ways I can do this. I can either take my 7 and times it by 5, which would be 35, or I can take my £56 and take away the 21, which again would give me £35. All right, so there's 2 ways of achieving that, and this way they've gone for obviously just times it by 5. Okay, and that is sharing a quantity into a ratio. Okay, there are obviously, I know in exams there are some very more awkward kind of questions on ratio, which we will be looking to kind of cover soon. Also, watch this space in terms of obviously problem-solving kind of questions on ratio. We'll be introducing those really, really quickly. All right, but for now, thanks for listening. And if you need practice on ratio questions, then get yourself on the website, link below.